So that's a quick look at all those options. Now there was one left that I wanted to save, and that was view culling and occlusion. Now to show this off, let me get back over here to where I was. So we'll get over a little bit closer to the main part of the level. I'm just dragging with the left mouse button to get us a little closer to the main part of the action. I'm going to put us right down in the middle of this, staring at this bridge. Kind of moved far away when I jumped over to those orthographic views. Now let's de-maximize the viewport. So remember that maximize viewport button we clicked? I'm going to click that again to make that go away. Now using some of the things we've already learned, I'm going to pick on this viewport here just to the right of our perspective viewport, and I'm going to set this to another perspective viewport. You can have as many perspective viewports as you like. Now let's take this one. We'll also set it to a lit mode. There's a lit button specifically for that. Or here inside the view, we can choose lit. Now what I'm going to do is navigate this camera so that both of these objects are looking at the same thing. Also, I'm going to put both of these cameras in game mode, okay? So I'm going to tap the G key in each one. So make sure you put focus in one view and tap G. Now let's put focus in the other and tap G as well. So both of these views are in game mode. They're both showing exactly what the player would see during gameplay. Now, all of that is just a setup to make sure that the view culling and occlusion option makes a little bit more sense, because if you're totally new to UDK, this one might be a little bit confusing. What this option does is it turns whichever viewport you activate it for into the occlusion parent. Inside of Unreal, when you're actually playing the game, any object that is occluded, meaning it's hidden completely behind another object, or maybe it's just outside your field of view, that object will stop rendering. It'll literally turn invisible, and that keeps things nice and fast for the system. It doesn't render anything that the player isn't looking at. If you want to preview this effect, you can use the option View Culling and Occlusion. I'm going to take this horizontal splitter bar, and we'll slide that up a little bit so we really just have these two primary views. And then here on the left perspective view, I'm going to come down and switch on View Culling and Occlusion. Now take a look. On the right-hand side, we suddenly see the words Occlusion Child. So the view on the left is our occlusion parent. The view on the right is our occlusion child. I'm going to navigate around here inside our occlusion child view for a moment and get us really close to where this camera is. We can see the camera because it shows us all the points coming into the view over here, this kind of purple wireframe that we're looking at. And let's just get kind of right over that camera's shoulder at sort of a nice distance. Now watch, as I rotate the left-hand camera, I'm also going to switch the right-hand camera to real-time to make this really apparent. So there's a real-time button here, a little joystick. Now watch, as I switch this on, you see what's happening over in the right-hand view? Everything that falls out of range of the left-hand camera is disappearing. It's because those objects are occluded. Anything that is occluded from our occlusion parent is no longer visible. So this is just a way for you to preview how occlusion is working in your level. And again, it takes a little bit of setup to really understand what's going on. So what we did is we set up a second perspective view in lit mode, and we set it to real time so that in our occlusion child, we could see real-time visibility changes for all of the objects in our scene as they become occluded. Now that is a quick look at many of the functions here inside our viewport options menu. Again, we didn't really hit on anything that has its own button. We'll talk about that as we move forward. But for now, we'll go ahead and end this video, and then we'll move forward and take a look at some of the other options here inside the viewport toolbar. Before we leave, though, let's set everything back the way it was. I'm going to come over to viewport options, switch off view culling and occlusion. Let's drag our splitter bar back down to about halfway, and then we'll grab this viewport and we'll set its viewport type back over to a front view. And then I'll go back under the menu one more time and we'll set it to brush wireframe view. So that will wrap up this video, and we'll just move forward from here.